thanks for the nice Victoria intro. I really enjoyed coming here and seeing everybody. I posted a picture on the ferry on the way here, on Weibo, on Chinese Weibo, and I got like 10 responses right away. Why can't it be this clean in China? Look at the sky, it's so blue. I can't believe it. Where are you? Wow. Just like that. So just one post of a picture of me sitting on the ferry, just with a nice, beautiful background. So when you're dealing with different countries, you're dealing with different audiences. How they look at you is completely different. So when you post Chinese social media, you have many opportunities you don't know about, and you also have risks that you don't know about. So we'll just kind of go over. I'll give you a quick intro. This is when I went to China. So this is 1989. Reagan was president, and I went to China on I took the Trans-Siberian Railroad over there from Europe. And when I got there, I remember coming into Beijing Station. It was just all gray. There was thousands of people, probably tens of thousands, waiting, sitting there in Mao suits, just looking for work. They're just like migrant workers sitting there. And there was really no businesses. So it was basically it was all, there was people making food on the street and things like that, but there was businesses been destroyed in 1949. So that's where it was when I got there, and that was before the internet, obviously. So, and I've been in Asia ever since. So I've seen kind of how it kind of started, and I did an old school in China before social media. So I hope that those tips can also help, you to make your strategy for targeting. Let me ask you a quick question. How many people here are planning something big in China? You want to take a brand, you want to raise venture capital, you're working with the government. Okay. And how many people want to go to China and do something themselves? They want to, you want to do something, you want to start a school, you want to bring yourself there, get known in China. Okay. And then how many people are just here to study? Okay. So pretty much everybody's got a plan to do something, right? Okay, good. Let's see here. I'll give you a couple of things about myself. I speak Mandarin Chinese fluently, and I speak Japanese. So I lived in Japan and I lived in China. So I have a good idea of how things work in China. I know how I'm viewed, and I know the risks for myself. And I also know a lot because I have a relocation company. So we've helped thousands of foreigners move, and with children and families, and I get to see kind of how everybody has to deal with things and what they, what do you get out of China? What happens when you go there? What happens when you post stuff, right? So I didn't have it on my own. I got it, a lot of it from my sisters. My sisters moved to Asia. I got to see her kids be born, and I got to see how they were, raised, how they were seen as, non-Chinese children born there. So all that stuff definitely ties into social media. Let's see here. So who can benefit? Basically, you guys. You're my target for this one. It's people doing stuff, and also studying. I mean, I started out studying, right? You start out studying, and then you do stuff. China is like a bug you get, and you get the China bug, and it never goes away. It never goes away. You go there, and you just get bombarded with new things and people and smells and sounds and everything. And then you think, I'll never go back the first time, and then you come back and live there. It's often the case for China. Okay, so why Chinese social media? Why, like everyone's on Facebook, right? And people say Facebook's a waste of time, right? You spend all this time on Facebook, you spend hours on Facebook. It's a big waste of time is what I always hear. So why would you why would a sane human being who's already wasting a lot of time on social networks, why would you even think about China? Because I mean, China it's obviously a huge country with massive online users, and there's complicated, there's different languages. It's impossible, right? How would what would you do? What are the benefits? So these are some of the numbers, and I tried to stay away because I'm like really a China hand, so I'd stay away from big shocking numbers because to me it's just home. So I don't try not to make a big deal out of it. I don't want to exaggerate anything, but I mean there's just a lot of people there. They do a lot of stuff. When you post stuff, it's not like posting here. You get a lot more feedback. Sometimes in Facebook, I feel like when I'm posting something, it's like a museum. I'm posting a picture, someone's looking at it, maybe one friend, two friends, something. China is completely different. People are very active, and especially young people, 16 to 30. They're posting like mad, right? So That's one big thing. The average, here's some figures for business people. There's a ton of millionaires, just past 1 million millionaires, and that could easily be double. That could easily be double because there's so much gray income in China, right? 95 billionaires. The average age is 38 of a Chinese millionaire.
Sure. Where do these figures come from? How do we know?
Yeah.
Are these Chinese published figures?
Exactly. How do you know anything in China? In the end, you're just guessing. You're doing your best. What I did with these numbers was I looked at the Hoover report, which is the most respected. One of my friends runs that report. So I look at the numbers there, and I look at different places I respect, and I go through. And the thing is, it changes so fast. So a number I respect a month ago, I can't use it now. It's a different number.
The people who are the millionaires and billionaires, are they actively trying to sort of hide that? Is that part of the culture?
Well, that's the other thing, is a lot of the money is under the table. Or it's not, it's not directly, I don't know how to put it. I don't want you guys to get the impression that it's all, this is a very touchy subject. And, the idea that, it's, the money's dirty and you're dealing with, corruption. And of course there's corruption in every country. I spent a lot, time in India. I spent time in Russia. There's corruption. There's corruption in the Philippines. And, but most of the money in China is clean. People made a heck of a lot of money in China. And China's not going away. There's going to be more money in China. This number is going to be higher next week. That I can tell you for sure. And a lot of the money was made from real estate. So just one quick story is when one of my friend's dads actually was a consultant for this, when the Chinese government tried to take land private again after it was public. So what they did was he came in and he said, okay, look, anybody who's squatting in an area, you measure out how much space a human gets, depending on the city, and then you give them rights to an apartment. So people who squatted in certain areas, they ended up getting a free apartment. Yeah, or they ended up getting an apartment for very cheap. So they just had to buy, like a lot of apartments that are, say, $1 million now or $2 million, they got them for $5,000 or $3,000 just a few years ago. So there's a lot of wealth just created, just boom like that, because nobody knew that Chinese real estate was going to boom so much. I'm in the real estate business, and I didn't know. And none of my friends did,
I don't mean to maybe derail you
No, please.
with questions, but what's with all the empty cities like you see on the internet, these cities that
Okay, great. This is my first speech here about China. I just talk to my friends that I mean, this is, again, it's complicated. And I would say that to a lot of people, it's another way to think that China's going to disappear. It's a big house of cards. It's just going to disappear someday. It'll go back to the way it was. Sure, there's problems. China's got tons of problems. But there's tons of problems everywhere. And the ghost cities, I mean, I'm downtown Shanghai. We do real estate, right? There ain't no ghost town in Shanghai. I mean, we just had a vice president of Hollywood. Probably we were trying to find a place for Dreamer executive, and we had a tough time. They were full.
Who's paying for all of these cities? How much money does it cost to build a city where no one lives in it? I mean, we're talking billions of dollars, aren't you?
You're talking about the 60 Minutes report, right?
Well, I know nothing really about it except what I've seen on the internet. You see massive cities and there's no people. I don't know, how does any economy fuel that?
Right. A lot of those pictures are the same places. Yeah. Okay, it's the same places over and over. Ordos in Mongolia. There's a couple cities that have that. But I can tell you this story, maybe this will put your mind at rest. When I went to Shanghai in '94 on a business trip, I was living in Tokyo, and I was standing on the Puxi side of the river. There's two sides, Pudong and Puxi. I was on the Puxi side, and my guide, I remember very clearly, she said, you see that over there? And I said, yeah. She goes, that's Pudong. She said, like garbage. She goes, that's Pudong. I said, yeah, really? And she said, yeah, the government made all those buildings, and it's just pig farms. It'll never amount to anything. Pudong is now, the picture of Shanghai when you see the tower, and you see that, I don't have a picture right here, but when you see the most expensive part of Shanghai, that's Pudong. So we're talking about 9 years. Or what is it? Oh, no, sorry. So 19 years, yeah. But I mean, the place is like, it looks like Dubai. I mean, it's better than here. You know what I mean? The place is amazing. Pudong is out of control. So, China has such a population that it's difficult. I think it's very difficult for people to understand what that means. It's like, I think of it like a tap. You open the tap, and the water goes over there. You just let the water in. You give them a tax break. You give them something. You tell them they can do this business they can't do anywhere else. And the people will just come.
Is that what they're doing? They're preparing for people to migrate into these cities?
No, no, it was a mistake. It was a mistake, yeah. I can't really say why. It's a little bit of corruption actually on those things. But yeah, it's not a China-wide, big deal. Of course, it could be a bubble. China real estate, could be a bubble. Nobody knows. I have a lot of friends that are very smart, and nobody really knows. There's a lot of demand, I could say that. And the economy is getting better and better. And there's a real, there's just a real go-get-em feeling in China. Things are just getting better for everybody, including the cleaners and the beggars and everybody. Like, the people are just getting better lives. And a lot of it's social media. A lot of it affects, will be some of the stories I tell. Okay, so let's go here. So they're young and speed. Oh, what I didn't put on here is that they're hungry. Chinese people are hungry. The country was closed for a long time, and they want to try new foods. When I moved to Shanghai permanently, a lot of my Chinese friends had never had a cup of coffee. We're talking about 8 years ago when I moved to Shanghai. So they never had a cup of coffee. So when I bought them a Starbucks, they would carry it around for a week, the cup. Yeah. And these are people,
Status symbol.
Yeah, it's like that been Starbucks. He was into that. And of course, again, I hate to tell personal stories. This is just a true story of one of my friends, Bob, Shanghai Bob, an older guy. But that was pretty true. And there was a boom of, what was it? They called it pizza, but it was actually just bread with like onions on it, like some kind of oil poured on there with pizza. Everybody was excited about it. It was a huge boom. And one day you wake up and there's just like these things all over China. It's just everybody's like eating pizza all of a sudden. And then they ate real pizza after that. So it just became, the Pizza Hut came, right? So, China is very difficult because it doesn't stop. So what you learn today is different tomorrow. That's one of the problems. Even living there for me. Even my friends, even Bob, my friend, the older Shanghainese guy, he has trouble every day. He gets up confused. It changes so much. It's hard for him to keep up.
Does it affect inflation at all? Like, are there inflationary issues there too?
There's inflation for sure. But it's still very cheap compared to most Asian cities. Land is expensive, but like my food and stuff is reasonable. Okay, so let's move on here. The other thing is hungry. They're hungry for everything. They're hungry for information. Chinese people, they want to learn new things. They're not closed-minded to stuff. They have no background, right? So why, like electric bikes are really popular, and electric cars are popular. Why? Because they never had a gas car. They don't know about the power. They get an electric car, they think it's great. They're cruising around. They love it. So it's very easy to penetrate the market. Hey, Maki. So they can penetrate the market real easy with things that it's tough for us to accept, right? It's dangerous, too slow. China just picks up on it. Everybody's like, hey, let's get an electric thing, let's do it. Some cities, electric cars everywhere, electric bikes are all over the place. I think we're going to take over the electric market, I think. But hard to say. Okay, so who are the players in Chinese social media? Just really quick, there's too many to tell you. Okay, there's what everybody does in these speeches. They tell you, they blow you away with statistics. And they show you this huge graph of hundreds of millions of sites, and you look at them and you think, wow, China's big, and you don't learn anything. I wanted to make this just make it something you could understand, and you could get a grasp on what you could do to succeed in social media in China. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so here's one more number thing. I saw that ad. I thought that was good. 5 times more people learning English in China than there are people in England, right? This is typical. This kind of numbers in China is so typical. I'll be happy to email this to you guys if anybody wants it, and I'll put it up online also. Okay, now this is one issue that's China specific. And I don't want to dwell on this too much, but it has a huge effect on the social media, big time effect. So do you guys know what, you hear China that websites are blocked. You know what that means? You know what blocked means?
Well, they can't get it. I had an email this morning from somebody who wanted our website, and
right.
it thinks that there might be something wrong with our website, but I think she's from China.
The reason why is probably one website out of 10,000 hosting on your server, they're sharing an IP address. You can fix that. Get a unique IP address. Okay, they're not blocking your site. Yeah. Okay, so here's what it looks like when you open up any of these sites here. This website is not available. So it's like there's no internet. So so it's there are ways around this, but I want you to understand the reality of on the ground is that normal people can't get on. Okay, don't even listen online. I'm serious. This is true. people cannot see what you put online if you put it on Facebook. Okay? You can have your best friend in China tell you it's not true because they have a VPN and they have a bunch of money and they work at a nice company and they had a friend, you know, it's okay, but the reality is, it ain't gonna happen. No one's on these. So, you know, any of these sites, and it changes every day. This was just recently put on the list, and this one also not too long ago. And they might come back off. Like, I think this one might be back off, might be available again, Dropbox. So,
what would be the rationale for blocking like WordPress or Blogger?
why would they block? They blocked WordPress.org, okay,
yeah.
not the, obviously not the template.
.org, okay.
Yeah, so somebody posted something that they didn't like on that whole bazillions of sites, and they said, okay, we're going to block it. Right? So that's what happens, is that there's one touchy thing. Facebook was blocked, to give you an idea, Facebook was blocked when there was riots in Xinjiang out in the desert, out in the western China, and there was these riots, and after that, they just blocked Facebook. So it's like one strike, you're out, and it's not even your fault. So these are serious issues for social media sites, Western social media sites.
So is there a Chinese social media site that?
Great question. Right here. Okay. You guys are right on. Here's the big boy right here, Tencent. These guys are huge. They are massive. You don't know anything like this company. This is not a copy. This is like, I don't remember the 80s, Japan had the humongous, massive companies, right? And they just had everything. They did everything, right? They did air conditioners, water purifiers, cars, and, you know, diesel engines for dams, you know. They just had everything, right? Baby carriages. This is what Tencent is for social media. So it's massive. It's got tons of money. At one time, I heard it had as much money as Facebook, but I don't know if that's still the case. I don't think that's still the case. But it kind of goes up and down. Tencent, they own a lot of different. These are all Tencent companies. So QQ, and I'll just give you real quick. QQ.com. This is one of the first Chinese, it's like Skype. It's like the first Chinese chat software. They basically, it's like a phone number. You have to have it. It's like a social security. You just have to have a QQ number. You know, if you're Chinese, you better have one because how are you going to call your mom? How are you, your friends from school? Everybody's using QQ, right? So it's kind of out of favor now. So it's shifting over to another one that they own, which is WeChat. And this is the hottest thing in China, for sure. WeChat. Definitely sign up, and if you go to paulsalo.com here, there's a QR code. You can add me right on there, real easy. And it's very sophisticated. WeChat rocks. WeChat is awesome. Because these sites are blocked, okay, you get very different ecosystem inside China. Okay, it started out as kind of a copy, right? Is I'm not going to let you in, I'll let him in, right? You know, it's just the same thing, you know, two guys coming in, right? But now it's different. It's evolved different, like the Galapagos Island or something. There's different people, there's different social pressures, there's different needs, different speed, different issues. You know, what Chinese post about is completely different often. So we'll talk about that also. But just to give you an idea, this is 10 cents. So you're going to hear more about them. Yeah, you're going to definitely hear more about this company. They're public in Hong Kong. They're just massive. I know these guys really well because they invested in a company that I helped to bring over to China. So I met a lot of these guys, and I know they're very young. This company, these guys, get this, the whole company, it's huge. Down in Shenzhen, the average age is 26. The whole company, 26. So what does that do to your company? You just have young people just fired up. They got their big Apple studio thing, you know, kind of Google Studio, and they're just full of energy all the time. They're just posting. They're coming out with new things. This website, this WeChat, this software, was a copy of what was the first one? It was the software. It was a cell phone number. Either way, they came out with it, and then they said, well, we'll have 6 months before Tencent copies us. Well, 2 months later, this thing was up, and it was passing them in users. So, you know, Tencent is crazy. They have so much money. They were originally known as a rip-off site where they would, you know, take a lot of ideas and just outright copy them, you know. So a lot of Chinese developers and my friends who were inventing things, they had trouble because they would get stuff, you know, as soon as Tencent wants to get in, you're dead, right? You're just toast. Because they're a conglomerate. They have so much money. They have so many users. They're just massive, right? Tencent's, it's hard to even, this company, the power they have in China is amazing. I'm sure the government's worried about more of that. No, that's Sina. Now, they have a Weibo. Tencent has a Weibo. Tencent Weibo. But that's another one. Yeah. And it's not as popular. Yeah. The one we'll talk about is Sina Weibo. So okay, let's go here. So get on WeChat. I recommend. I'm going to say again at the end. I would definitely get on WeChat right away. It rocks. It's great. I don't want to do an advertisement for it, but it's kind of like started out as a WhatsApp, and then it's so cool. It's like a walkie-talkie. So I just call my friends and say, hey, how's it going? And then boom, he's like, oh, I can't talk now. Boom, boom. It's got a walkie-talkie. It's got a wallet. You can use it to join membership clubs like golf membership, hotel. You can use it. You can buy things with it. It's the number one, which they call O2O. Do you guys have O2O here? O2O? Okay, that's online to offline. So that's a big thing in China, O2O, right now. So this is the king of O2O, WeChat. You meet people, and then you become friends, and you do stuff. So this is a big thing with Chinese, too. O2O is massive. Everybody is trying to do this, You get them offline and meet them in person. Go do something with these guys, whether it's eating or something like that. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. This is Sina. This is the one you just asked about, Sina Weibo, right here. And let's do that. Come on as well. Either way, they do a lot of stuff. What you want to know about these guys is they were originally a copy of Twitter, and you should definitely get on Weibo. If you're going to do any serious business in China, get on Weibo right away. Yeah, Sina Weibo. It's weibo.com. And Weibo it's a Twitter type of software with a lot more functionality in a different environment with more users and different needs and blah, blah, blah. Completely different animal. You can use Hootsuite, apparently. I haven't signed up yet. I'm going to meet them tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. But apparently you can post with Twitter and Weibo at the same time. This is hot information. No one's doing this. No one. Either you're Chinese and using it, or you're not. Yeah, you can just post, boom. Yeah. And this is a cool site. This is the one I really got into. This is my main, I use Weibo all the time. And you can, Chinese social media it's a different beast than you guys have here. It's a completely different. They're more comfortable with monetization. You can sell things in Chinese social media. It's okay, no problem. If Chinese will always ask me, how old are you? How much money do you make? And how much does that watch cost? They just ask right away, boom. Yeah, how much do you weigh? They ask me right away, do you have kids? How old are they? Why aren't you married? What's wrong with you? They just ask you right away, just boom. That's in mainland China. This is typical. This is the first minute I meet someone. This is a taxi driver. This is a taxi driver. So with Sina Weibo is what you want to think about this is put yourself out there and make friends in the beginning. Don't sell too hard. They're going to be selling. Okay, people sell on Weibo, a lot of stuff, but don't get and jump right in. You don't know the environment and start selling right away. Highly don't recommend that. I recommend if you want a strategy for Weibo, post stuff about yourself. Just like stuff that you wouldn't even post. Like pictures of a Mexican burrito you just ate. That's super interesting to them. Because they don't have too many burritos over there. So, it's like, oh, wow, what is that? Does it taste good? Then you'll get a lot of comments and stuff like that. Right? And you can also repost your stuff. This is I got a good strategy for it. Then you can post your Facebook stuff too. Especially pictures. So if you have pictures that you like and they're nice pictures, boop, boom, bam. You get people will like it and you'll get followers. Almost very few foreigners are using it. But I love it. I've had a ton of friends and online to offline with this one too. I often go out to dinner with people. I meet on Weibo. We have meetups. Somebody will buy a group buying a dinner, and then I'll just go and I was not as I do real estate. I never was social media. This wasn't my dad. I just kind of got roped into this because I guess I'm good at it because I get a lot of clients through social media. But just meet them up, and just hang out. Someone wants to do something, whatever they want to talk about, some special incident. Chinese people will want to talk about political stuff sometimes. They'll contact you and just say. One thing is in China online. I don't know how much you guys know about bloggers and stuff. They can be pretty harsh. Okay, they can be real harsh. Okay, and they can also be, especially the younger ones, can be real nationalistic and because so talking about war and let's attack that bomb this place and these guys are all scumbags. There's a lot of conversations like that. So you have to be very careful. You don't want to get into one of those conversations in China. You are not going to win, and it can happen on accident, just by the wrong post or something. You definitely don't want to be a victim of the human search engine, which is when somebody will post that and say, who is this person? And then a bunch, 100 million people will search the internet trying to find who you are and post your name and your Visa card. Yeah, everything about you. Yeah, it's a real witch hunt. Human search engine is the most feared thing in China. So if you post something, you don't know how people are going to respond. So that's why it's good to take your time. Watch what people are doing online first before you go ahead and post a lot of stuff. Personal stuff is fun. Yeah.
I know, like when you set up a label, you have to have Chinese and have someone set it up in Chinese. But can you subsequently post in English?
Okay, you can do. It's all changing. I think now it's no problem. You can sign up in English. Yeah, I believe you can sign up in English here. And if worst case scenarios, you have to sign it up in Chinese, and you need a Chinese phone number. That's what it used to be. So you need a company that could have a phone number that could register. They want to verify your identity in China. They want to know who you are, and so that if anything happens, they know. If somebody started a rumor, they know who you are. Sounds scary, I think, to people that aren't in China. And for me, I love it. I'm always open. Like all my sites, I use my full name. So to me, I'm not worried about it. But if you're really worried about it, you probably don't want to be on social media in China because you have to use your real name and you have to verify. There's a woman called Catherine Duan. She's here, and I think she's in Canada actually. And she's really great, and she'll help you to get verified. And you don't have to worry about it.
Because if you want engagement, it better be in Chinese, right?
Nope. I would say if you ask 1 million Chinese, 999,000 will say that. But as someone who I don't write Chinese very well. I speak fluently, but I don't write very well. So I can read better than I can write. So I will usually post in English, or unless it's something too short or something. And sometimes I'll post in Chinese. Depends on how I feel that day. But lately I've been doing all in English. And the reason is because I get so many replies in Chinese. It's not easy to reply to a bunch of, it's like you can get a lot of messages, right? So if you go in English, I would recommend everybody here either get a professional firm like we do it for companies, or do it yourself in English. Yeah. So you don't get too many. You get a bunch of text you don't know how to read them. You're trying to do it, and then you send something back and they misunderstand. That's what happens when you use Google Translate to post. They'll misunderstand, and then they'll think that you're dissing them. So it's yeah. Great question. But no, you can sign up now. They have an English Weibo, they have an English QQ, there's English WeChat, and they're trying to go global. So you're going to see less and less of what you were talking about, China specific. Now they're trying to be open. They're really trying to get users. They see the advantage of going global with these things. So they want to go global. They usually have an office here. I think Sina Weibo, I don't know where their office is, where Catherine works, but they're serious about it, going overseas.
You must restrict the number of responses that you can reasonably get if you're just doing English stuff. Putting it out there, 50% of the people are not going to feel comfortable reading what you're saying in English, responding to it.
What I'll do is I do a mix. I'll do videos in Chinese. Like I'll post videos a lot in speaking Chinese, and then I'll do some in English and some. And if I do English, I'll do simple English. Some things that people can understand without too much problem. But if you want to attract a bunch of people to write a language you don't know, then go ahead and do it in Chinese. But I wouldn't. I would really go with English because I've tested this. This is me only, you guys. No one else is saying this. Because I've tested it. Because I was in Chinese and was getting really tired. For a while I had a secretary who was helping me, and then she got married, and so I didn't have anybody who I trusted to do my thing, so to help me translate. So now I'm just doing this. It's been great because I attract people that are interested in foreign countries, and they're usually the ones who want to buy real estate overseas too, or they want to do something overseas, or they like foreigners, or they're interested in foreign countries, or they like foreign food, or they want to travel, or they want to go to school.
English. No?
Yeah, I haven't. I despise that. I haven't had that much on the label. No.
Why do you despise that?
I guess because I lived over there for 24 years. You can't teach 1 billion people a language. You just don't have time. Yeah, you have your life, right? And people come up to you all the time. They bring their kids and try to get it. You just don't have time. You're busy. You're going somewhere, right? And somebody comes up and wants to learn. It's like, that's for people who teach in English and they have a specific time they work, right? If somebody's really nice, of course I'll talk to them. But in general, it can get pretty. There's 1.4 billion people. Do you guys know what that means? Canada's like 24 million. 34 million. That's like Shanghai, you know. And then add the U.S. and population, and then add 1 billion on top of that. And the ones that are interested in foreigners, they just come to you. So they just come to you. They don't ignore you like they might ignore a Chinese. Yeah, they're just going to come if they want to study English. So you have to draw your boundaries, your personal boundaries, and that's one that, you know, my time is my time. So basically, that's where I draw that one.
So I figure if you do 0.002% of your engagers are English speaking, that's still like 50 million more people that would engage with you in North America.
Yeah, there's tons of people. Don't worry about it. There's plenty of people. Yeah, don't worry. And like I said, the ones that speak English are the ones that are interested in you. They're the ones interested in what you guys have to offer. Yeah, I almost can draw the line there. I can almost draw the line, not completely, because obviously there's different kinds of people, but usually people that you know, they study English. Here's the basic. Here's the kind of, if you want to, I put this together. It's kind of just basic. This gives you, you know, so you can kind of get an idea how it works. WhatsApp is WeChat. Facebook is Zhenzhen. And Zhenzhen is not so important these days. It's kind of going down in popularity. This video is going online, so I should say. It's fantastic. It's a great company. No, Renren, you know, what it is Renren is it's a college, it's for college students. And so they'll use it real actively. And then as soon as they graduate, they kind of graduate over to Weibo. Yeah, and WeChat. Right. So it's kind of like, that's how people use it right now. And it could change. You know, they partner with somebody, you know, just the last week, Alibaba, they bought 18% of Sina Weibo. That was the big earthquake last week, so that's huge. Do you guys know Alibaba? Yeah. Okay, yeah, the Alibaba group is massive. I mean, they were, okay, eBay is basically Alibaba. And then they also have another site called Taobao, which is where you set up your own shop. You do like a shop out of your house. And I mean, I don't know what the numbers are of the Chinese working out of their house, but it's a lot because they make everything in China. So probably 30% of my friends actually are doing that. They have a personal shop on Taobao, and that's how they survive and pay their bills. So they sell whatever products they have, or some services, or they think of something creative, it's something people would want to see or whatever, you know. So Taobao, so Alibaba owns Taobao and Alibaba's site. And I think it's, I don't know the exact numbers, I shouldn't say it on camera, but there's a lot of traffic. Alibaba's massive. So if you have a factory, you set up, how Alibaba started was, there's all the factories in China. And so these factories, they wanted a place where they could advertise. So Alibaba, everybody's on Alibaba. Every single factory making every widget, every pipe, every machine, glass, you know, bio, whatever, you know, it's all pharmaceutical. Everybody's on Alibaba. And Alibaba is kind of, it became very, Jack Ma actually was the founder. And my friend worked for him in the beginning, so I heard a lot of stories about him. He seems like a really actually cool guy to work with. But he's just a massive success. Guys, I know a lot of people hate him from Yahoo, so but I like him. I think he's cool. Yeah, I think he's smart. But anyway, so that's what's going on. So then Maybe Shua is basically Pinterest, and it's very female friendly. If you have any fashion, you have any makeup, you have any cosmetics, you have anything that you think will appeal to females in China, definitely there's a couple of sites you can go to. Maybe Shua is one of them. Weibo is obviously Twitter, but it's much more. And then you have Youku and another one called Tudo. And these are basically very similar to YouTube, except they don't have quite the functionality of YouTube. There's a few things you can't do. Tudo.com, Tudou, that allows you to embed videos into a website. Tudou.com. Tudo. And Tudo, they're cool. Actually, a friend of mine was the co-founder, Mark Vanicus, and it's cool. It's a cool site. You know, it's a kind of a different scene in Chinese videos. You'll see when you go there. There's a lot of copies, and there's also some creative new stuff. One thing I didn't put on here, which is really, really hot right now. Everybody says China doesn't innovate. They do innovate, and they're innovating faster than you think. Yeah, you got to be in Chinese social media. I think everybody over there should be here because you got to hear about it. Like for example, there's a company called Chengba. Chengba. There's Chengba, there's YY. And what these sites are is, you know, everybody loves karaoke, right? And, you know, sing your song and everything. So Chengba and YY.com, it started with a pretty girl singing a song and in her bedroom, you know, like a long karaoke, and then she'd get a bunch of fans. So people would sign up to be her fan. and it's just in Chinese. But if you like singing, you could kill it on Chanpa. You will kill it, I'm telling you. If you're a good singer, you're going to kill it. You'll be the first guy. You'll kill it. That's CHANG-BA. Yeah. And then you can also go to YY. That's easy. YY now. Yeah. These are young people sites. Yeah. But they're cool. You know, you get a flavor of China. So it's interesting. I have, that's YouTube and Yoku, Tudo channels. Here's a story of myself. Let's see, where are we doing for time here? Okay. This is why there's so many reasons to use social media, you guys know. You know, like, for example, this here. I went to a real estate convention. This is a few weeks ago. And I don't know what it is. You can see it on my Facebook. But I was there, and I saw this guy, and I'm coming out with an information product to help real estate agents in overseas, in New Zealand, Australia, US, and Canada, to find Chinese investors. So I knew this guy's kind of like the Tony Robbins of this, right? So I saw his stuff, and I'm like, oh, I want to meet him, right? So I took a picture in front of his stand-up thing, and then I posted on social media. And I begged his staff, where they were standing right behind me, I was begging them to introduce me. They said, oh, yeah, sure. And they never did. Right? So I went home, and then I went back the next day. I took a picture of myself standing by his thing. Next day, guys talking to me on WeChat, leaving a message. He adds me. We met, and we did an event. And the first day, we did an event. That's where we were high-fiving there. 4 properties sold in like an hour. Yeah, in Australia. We did 11 in another one. So, you know, it's like Chinese social media, you know, you just, it's personal, but it can turn into business. You know, if people need stuff that you have, right? So you can't shove anything down China's throat. That ain't gonna work. You really need somebody smart who they know what you offer, what's the benefits, and they know what's going on here, they know how to test, they know how to, you know, do it all cheaply, but they know how to not give a bad impression. Because once you give a bad impression in China, it gets out on social media, you're toast. Okay, well, unless you have $1 billion in marketing, you know, to come back, right? It's not going to happen, right? For most people. Not for me. Okay, so, that's right. I was going to say a couple things. This was a huge success, and I've done this kind of stuff a lot. It's just great. You can meet people easily. You know, there's not a lot of foreigners on Chinese social media, so you'll be some of the first. So that's a big advantage right there. You know, big advantage to be first movers. People notice you. Right? Once there's 100 million foreigners on there, it won't be. You know what I mean? Now's the time.
Right? If you don't speak Chinese,
you don't need to. As I said, just do it in English. Just do it in English. You might have somebody tell you, you know, get out. You don't speak Chinese. Get out of here. You know, you might have some. There's haters. There's nationalists. There's all kinds of things you have to deal with. It's possible, but just ignore it. Just move on. There's other people who will come and support you. And say, no, she's great. You know, you're wrong. You know.
a couple of times you said, watch out for, don't do, you'll be toast. Do you have any quick tips on what to avoid?
What to avoid? Well, I mean, like I said, the number one thing is to get on there and watch for at least a couple weeks. You know, just watch what people post. Add a lot of different kinds of people, older people, younger people, men, women, and just watch what everybody's saying. Even if you're targeting all, say college-age men, you still want to watch everybody and how they interact. So what you can do, the best tip I can give you is install the Google Translate. I don't know if you call it, what is it, app or what is it called? It goes in Chrome browser.
Yeah, it's
the
the
add-on.
toolbar.
Yeah, well there's toolbar, yeah, and that's right, it's toolbar. Yeah, it's a toolbar. So add that toolbar, and then after that, it'll give you a choice of translating any site that you want into English. So what I do with Weibo is I will open it up, and then it will translate automatically, and I can just read what's going on in China. And it works really, really well for being informed. It doesn't work very well if you're translating a nuclear, procedure manual for running a plant, or doing surgery, but not so good for that. But it's pretty good if you find out that there's an earthquake, or everybody's going nuts about the celebrity, or people are scared of something. And Chinese like Weibo, it's on fire. I mean, there's just things exploding all the time online. You want to see and kind of get a feeling for that. You don't need to speak Chinese, you don't need to read Chinese to do that. So the number one thing is what I would say when when people ask about language, I speak a lot of languages, I'll say, look, the number one thing is listening. You don't hear the person you hate is when they just look at you, they talk, you say something, they don't understand, and they just keep talking, right? It's like the worst. I don't want to be that person. So I always spend 6 months listening when I'm studying a language without speaking, and just listen. So I start with the same strategy for Chinese social media. Listening is the best way to start, and you'll find out for yourself, because your market's going to be different than my market. Or who knows? They work together. But either way, you'll learn a lot. Just watch it. Okay, so I'll just give you kind of like some unique things that WeChat has. And we talked about WeChat quite a bit. In Chinese, it's called Weixin. So Weixin is cool. I love Weixin. And it's got like things like shake. So I take my phone, I shake it. Anybody else in this area is shaking their phone? We meet up. Yeah. It's got a drift bottle, which I can put a message in a drift bottle and just throw it out to the universe. And then somebody can grab that drift bottle and they can reply. They can add comment. It's got a lot of creative stuff. It's got like, the coolest thing is it holds the talk. So it's like a walkie-talkie, so I can just say something real quick, It's like the walkie-talkie, so I leave a message, they'd send it back. And that's great.
Paul, do you find differences in the involvement in social media geographically in China? Is it mostly Shanghai, Beijing, the coastal areas,
yes.
And not so much the interior?
Big difference. There's a lot of studies. I read these studies and I just don't know how much is accurate. It seems to me most people are on social media, to me. And I do a lot of traveling. I go to like the western, like way north, way west, it depends on the region. Like Tibet, there's not so much internet. The more rural it is, the less lines. But in general, the Chinese government has done a fantastic job of laying the infrastructure. So you can get internet anywhere. And it's usually pretty fast, too. I tell these guys to go down to the U.S. and fix it up. Because, seriously, it's like you need fast internet. Everybody needs it, I think. But yeah, there's a little difference in users. And the gap is closing. But still, the coveted customers you guys probably want are the white-collar, young, mobile, savvy people. So that's probably what you want. You tend to get out of the sticks, so you get people who don't check as often. They go to internet cafes, that's the difference. If they don't have much money, they'll go to internet cafe, and it's super cheap. And they can just log in. They have to show their card, let them know who they are, and then you can use their computer.
Just wondering how much interest there is in China in travel to foreign places.
Wow. You guys these questions are awesome. Yeah. No, travel is like the #1 thing. That's like the best thing to advertise. And that's what the reason why is this is well, naturally we talked about the people are going to become wealthy very quickly, right? So people have money, they want to try new foods, they want to go to new places, right? Just like normal people everywhere. You want to try new things, you want to see more stuff, you want to hear more stuff, you want to talk to more kinds of people. So traveling, education, real estate, these are very hot for social media. And I posted stuff for a company and people just buy tickets right away, You post some nice pictures. It's not a decision I need to think about if I'm a Chinese person. Very, very hard, right? You see a beautiful girl on the beach, and you see a beautiful beach. The Chinese guy's like, boom, buys a ticket. Yeah, he doesn't even think about it. Yeah, he's just like, I want to go there. So that's why travel is so good. Because it's not like the iPhone. You think, well, which one's better? You get the older one or the newer one? So you get, Samsung. Travel is just like, I got time, boom, I'm gone. So travel is a good one. And education is another good one. So if you're doing social media for a university, that could kill it if you do a good job with it. And that's how people argue. So education is really good. Because again, it's something that once, I guess the way I think about it is, if you were okay, I'm the first time here in Detroit. So I walk around here. If I eat something good, I'm probably going to go back there. Like I'm not going to spend the whole trip just going to new restaurants and reading food things. I'll just go back to that place. Once you know something, you tend to return, and if you're new, but that's how Chinese are. They'll tend to come back. Like when we sell properties, it's often like, hey, 20 years ago, I studied this neighborhood outside of Melbourne, and I loved it, and I want to buy a house there. It's like, well, you're going to go back to school? No. Why that neighborhood? The world's huge. It's like, well, that's the neighborhood she knows, right? So it's going to buy there. So once you get them hooked, you're done. You're done. It's just like, you're going to have so many customers, seriously, especially travel.
So in education around that model, what is the expectation around response time? So if you're engaging with people in this environment and you have to be pretty fast with response.
Right. Good question. I personally don't respond that fast on Chinese social media because, long story, I take my time. There's not a lot of people on. I think they're very forgiving about that. Yeah, don't worry about it too much. Yeah, don't stress you guys. Don't stress yourself out too much for no reason. Just get on there, post a few things. Yeah, post something once a week. Get on there and try it. Don't worry about it. This other stuff. You're busy with your other stuff too, right? You're just kind of testing, probably. You're kind of learning. So test something out there. Yeah, sometimes I'll get a response and it's like a week. I didn't see it for some reason. It didn't pop up on the push notification. Yeah, then I responded. People were nice. No problem. Okay. Let's see. I'll just go quick because we're down to the end. If you are sourcing products from China, you want to go to Alibaba. Right? It's a great place to source. If you're going to sell something on your shop, so you want to do something of a little business, you want to sell in China, you have like cool surfing shorts, or you have some, really great hair dye or something you want to sell. You want to say open up a Taobao shop, and you pay a little bit of money per month, and you get like a little e-commerce site, and you can sell on Taobao. Taobao's fantastic. It works too. Taobao works. You can make money on Taobao. You just have to send it over there, whatever the thing is. Brand marketing, Weibo. Yeah, Weibo, brand marketing for sure. No question. It's good for marketing in general. Weibo is public. So when you post something, everybody can see it. When WeChat, okay, it's private. So if I have you guys on my WeChat, and we're in a private network, no one else can see it. So Weibo is when you want to broadcast a message, and WeChat is when you want to contact your friends. Sure.
Question, the sites you posted in your slides earlier, the 10-cent one or the ones comparison, do they have apps for iPhone or Android that we can access here and post to?
Yeah. You can download the English one.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, the one caveat is that it's possible somebody's listening, So just keep that in mind. You don't want to be writing stuff that they don't like, So be careful about that one. They do notice. Let's see here. I'm talking about serious stuff, you guys. I'm not talking about a little mistake. I'm talking about revolution. It's not a good time.
You probably run the same risk here for some, things are monitored here to some extent. It's just
no, it's good you say that because I want to make sure you guys understand as much as I can my information. I want to make sure you guys know it's very different. It's different between a sunburn and you're dying of cancer. We're talking about big differences here. It's a big difference, guys. Just so you know, it's a huge difference. And to them, to local Chinese people, the ones that agree with those issues, it's a little bit belittling. And to the other people, it's just not knowing. So it is very, very different. They keep a very tight eye on what's going on. And there's the Golden Shield project, and there's also the Great Firewall. And they have hundreds of thousands of people working on these things. Most posts that are not wanted are deleted within 6 minutes. And they have an army of people working on it. So you don't get in trouble usually. They'll just delete the post. I had one post deleted. Yeah. That's when I knew I was active. That's like I got one post deleted. I was like, no way.
What was?
Happened to me. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't a big deal. It was just some reason. Okay, here's how weird it can be. Do you know Wen Jiabao is the opener? Well, Wen Jiabao, his name is Wen. Wen means like the temperature. Right? It's a character for temperature. So his name was very when he came up in Bloomberg did a special on how much money his family had, and then all of a sudden you search for you try to post something about the temperature, they'll delete it. It's like when, nothing was about when you can put on. So, okay, let's see here. Okay, with Chinese people, last thing I'll say is for business, you definitely want to add every Chinese person on social media that you ever meet. You just meet somebody, add them on WeChat. You meet somebody, add them on Weibo, WeChat. Just add them right away. If you ever think you might want to keep in contact with them, phones are useless. Like a typical businessman in China has 6 phones. He's got his Shanghai phone, he's got a Beijing phone, he's got his Hong Kong phone, he's got his Japan phone, he's got his US phone. He's got phones all over the place. Try to call him on his phone, you're never going to get it. Right? And also he won't know who you are. He doesn't trust you. He doesn't know you, he doesn't trust you. That's how that happened. And now we're friends, right? So you want to show them who you are, because they're a little bit, this is new for them. This is a big deal. It's a big deal for them, right? So add them on right away, even if you don't know why you're adding them. Just add them on. Yeah, because something will happen later. We'll give you an example. is my friend Adam, he added his EMS guy. His EMS guy comes all the time, right? And the guy was always very cold, and what's that? Oh, it's like a Federal Express, FedEx. And so he always delivers packages out. So he adds his EMS guy, right? Because he gets tired of losing the phone. So the EMS guy, then the EMS, he sees that my friend is into biking. He rides a half bike on a bike, right? So then he also likes bikes. So then all of a sudden they're chatting. Now this is the lowest level person. We're talking about somebody who makes probably, I don't know what those guys make, maybe 160 Canadian a month or something, like really low salary. And they're becoming friends with this guy who's, sophisticated guy. That never happened for you guys. That did not happen in Chinese history. Never. Did those guys make friends? It's very stratified in that way. It's tough for those guys to make their way up. And now with social media, they're connecting, they're knowing you, they're just as important as everybody else online. So social media is like huge in China. The effects on society are massive. I guess I spent a lot of time in India before. In India, I'm sure it would be the same thing because you have the caste system, and now it's getting busted apart by social media, right? If you're interesting, they want to talk to you, right? If you're not interesting, they don't want to talk to you, right? So be interesting, and it'll go over in Chinese. And see if there's any last notes here. That's about it. So is it one or two questions? We got time? Or? Okay. Anybody got one or two questions?
Where's it going?
What's that?
Where's it going? I mean, is there something new on the horizon, or do you know? It's impossible to know where it's going at such a big time.
It's going. Wow, that's a big question. It's going fast. I'm going to say that. It's changing very fast. There's new things coming out all the time. There's a lot of innovation coming out of China in social media and software. Weibo is the best way you can keep up on it because Weibo is like a news source. It's a trusted source. A lot of the government sites are not. They're controlled by what's called SAFE. Not necessarily not SAFE. It's one of the departments. They control the media, so it's very trusted. So if you want to know where it's going, get on Weibo, get the Google Translate thing, and you'll see it happen. You'll see because a lot of they'll advertise on what's happening in WeChat on Weibo or WeChat on Weibo on WeChat, so you can find out pretty easily where it's going. Tencent wants to take over the world. I know that, and I know WeChat is rocking good software, so it's possible they might even challenge Facebook, in my opinion, because they're cool. Telling you. They're cool, and they're easy to use, they're fun, they're fast, they make sense, and they always come out with new stuff, so you can buy things with it, you can do all this stuff. They're just animals. These guys never stop at 10 cents.
So they can try and expand beyond the borders of China?
Oh, they're already expanding. WeChat's second biggest market is India. They're advertising, I noticed the other day in Taiwan on TV, they're advertising. They're advertising in Indonesia like mad. They're starting to, like I said, Weibo has an office here. I think it's in I'm not sure, but either way, they have an office here in North America. So, yeah, they're going for it. And who knows what's going to happen, They'll have the growing campaigns like everywhere else. I think there's going to be some winners. It's going to be some winners. Okay.
Like, quick advice on how to get a name in Chinese that, because when you try, like, how do you get a Chinese name?
Oh, okay.
Like, how do you translate your name into another,
Yeah, I know, it's embarrassing when you pick the wrong one. It is. A lot of people pick the wrong one, and then it just haunts them forever. Big mountain, whatever it is. I think I wouldn't be in a hurry. I would say generally those picking names thing and having a stamp is a little bit days gone past. So depends. If you're speaking in Chinese to people, you need a Chinese name right away. Yeah. So like for example, my name is Paul. So in English, in Chinese, it's just Bao Luo. Bao Luo is kind of the direct translation. There's a lot of Bao Luos out there, so it's easy for people to remember. So pick something that's easy to remember. Take your time. Talk to some smart Chinese people who are good at this kind of thing. Don't just take the first name and tattoo it on, take your time. Take your time. 'Cause it's easy to make a mistake. I have so many friends, they pick a mistake. They pick a name, and then like 5 years later when they learn Chinese, they're so embarrassed. And that's their name now, right? So no problem. Just use your real name. It's fine. It's fine, yeah. People that want to talk to you can pronounce your name, generally. I don't know. Yeah. I don't pick a lot of Chinese names. I think it's fun. Okay.
I was going to ask, do you ever have any tools to be able to tell if your site or your IP address is blocked inside of China?
There's tools, but they don't work.
All right.
Yeah, not that I've seen. So just send it to me, email it to me, and I'll check it and check it. You know, that's fine. And yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, email it to me. Don't send me 10,000 sites, but yeah. Get a unique IP address. Okay, so that's all. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you gained something. Yeah.